Hello and welcome to Sky Career Talks, where we display why it's great to learn with us and communicate. I'm your host, David James. Today, I'm super excited to be speaking with Lisa Thornton. Lisa is an acquisitions and collections librarian at Seton Hall University, a role she assumed in August of 2022. Previously, Lisa served as a technical services librarian at the Scotch Plains Public Library, where she led the development and management of the library's electronic resources collection and spearheaded multiple collection management projects, including a reclassification of physical materials to improve inclusivity. She is involved with the New Jersey Library Association, serving as president of the Technical Services and Collection Development section in 2021 to 2022. Lisa currently serves on NJLA's Professional Development Committee and was a member of the organization's Class of 2021 Emerging Leaders Program. As an MI student, Lisa worked as an information specialist for the Congressional Research Service at the Library of Congress and interned in the Walsh Library at Seton Hall. Lisa holds a Master of Information degree from Rutgers University and a Bachelor of Arts in Chemistry from College of the Holy Cross. We're super excited to be speaking with Lisa today. We present to you my interview with Lisa Thornton. So thank you for taking the time to be here, Lisa. I really appreciate it. How are you today?
I am very well, thank you. Thanks for taking some time to talk with me.
No problem. So give us a brief overview of your career journey.
Sure. It hasn't been that long. I graduated with my MI from Rutgers I finished in 2018 and got my graduation for January of 19. And so after that, I was working in a public library where I had worked prior to and during my master's. And I was there for a total of almost 10 years. Just this summer, so after I'd been in the position of a technical services librarian, which is what I started as out of grad school, after almost 4 years in that role, I have transitioned. I'm now at Seton Hall University. And so I've moved from a public library job to an academic library job, which is very different. But it's been interesting to see what things are the same, what things are different, and how the skills kind of apply regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the skills are very transferable. And I must say, congratulations on that promotion, moving from public to academic library, especially at Seton Hall. So what does a normal day look like for you in past or present job
Sure.
roles?
So in my previous job as a technical services librarian in a public library, I spent most of my time doing cataloging, collection management, collection development. I did all the collection development and management for our electronic resources, which was mainly Overdrive. So I was purchasing ebooks, managing that budget, adding those records. So pretty much like selecting, cataloging, making sure the invoices were put through, and also removing records when the lease period was up. So it was kind of a soup to nuts with the ebooks. And then I did a lot of cataloging print material, and then sort of weeding the collection, reassigning call numbers in the collection if we wanted to move things around. So that was a large part of what I did. I also worked in some of the health resources, and I worked the reference desk. So it was a lot of different things there, which was great. It was great coming out of grad school to have a job that had so much variety. I got to learn a lot of different things, try to kind of see what I liked and what I didn't, and sort of fine tune my interests. So a typical day now, and I will say I just started in August, so I don't know that a typical day is typical yet. But right now, because it's the sort of change of the calendar year, and we're sort of mid-semester. I think people are starting to take midterms now. But a lot of our renewals are due for journals in our databases, which of course we have a lot of as an academic library. And so right now I'm spending a lot of time working with vendors, going through usage statistics, negotiating prices for renewals, swapping in journals, this journal for that journal based on usage and what, kind of what direction we're going with certain programs. So that's all very different for me, working kind of on that side. As sort of a lot of those are going through to be renewed for the calendar year, so in January. So as that starts to kind of wrap up, probably by November, so soon, I'm like under the gun right now, but as that starts to shift, December, those all should be at least in place and just being invoiced. Then I will be starting to focus more on the collection side of my position, which I haven't had a lot of time to really focus on. But that will be kind of looking more at the metadata classification, working more with the catalogers, that kind of thing. So it definitely still is a position with a lot of variety, which is still great. But, it's a very different atmosphere. But I've worked with great people. Everyone's really supportive. And I've been asking a lot of questions right now.
No, absolutely. That's very important. And I find you bring an adaptable quality, especially mentioning, figuring out what you like and you don't like. Do you think your past roles and experience, as well as being in a graduate program, but also making that pivot from public to academic librarian, do you think your past roles have prepared you for this new role?
Yes, definitely. Certainly, my courses at Rutgers definitely prepared me for a wide range of roles and gave me a lot of different skills that I can pull from. And while I was in the MI program, I did intern here at Seton Hall for one semester, my last semester of the MI program. So that was good because when I came in, there were a lot of people here that were here then 4 years ago. As well as kind of understanding some of the lay of the land. I had a different kind of position. I did more cataloging. I worked in the archives and I did reference at the time, which I don't do much of right now. So, that was something I was able to do because of Rutgers. It was part of, my Rutgers program doing an internship. So that was very helpful in making that transition, as well as also at Rutgers, I did some work with Roxton, which is where the British Archives course, it takes place in England. And I did an independent study after that, working on some different types of cataloging projects remotely. So, got that through Rutgers, and that gave me some different skills also. And I also did an internship, a paid internship with the Library of Congress while I was in Rutgers. So that was a summer 10-week internship at Library of Congress in person. And I was able to do that. So I feel like, I definitely had some great coursework at Rutgers that I really appreciate. I still am in touch with some of the professors there who were wonderful. And it also gave me the opportunity to kind of try some different things while I was there, which has really helped build up my skill set for now.
No, absolutely. And I really like that you talk about, the different skills that you adapted and learned throughout your graduate program, but also working in these past and present roles. What type of skills, both technical and probably interpersonal, would you say that students need to start honing or thinking about now?
Particularly for the types of jobs that I've had, which are more back end. So it's more metadata cataloging, organizing information. And certainly now I'm doing a lot of managing budgets. So all of those things I got out of my courses and then applied during internships and independent studies, etc. In order, and of course in my previous job, in order to then use those here. It's kind of bringing all those together. But my coursework was really strong. I think the classes are great. And I did take metadata cataloging, organizing information. And I took the management course, which was really helpful and very helpful for me now.
No, that's great. So, how would one get into this field? Would you say networking or having a presence on LinkedIn or perhaps a portfolio is needed to enter this field?
Yeah, I think that having the background of the coursework and then being able to apply that to, say, trying an internship or an independent study if you don't have time for an internship, because I know that that can be difficult while you're going to grad school. I went part-time, so the program took me 2.5 years, but I did do things over the summer. One of them was the independent study and that internship at Library of Congress. So I think that having come out of the program with some work experience, even if it was unpaid experience, which is what I had here when I was in my internship, that really helped get me into the field. I think the coursework is really solid, but it really helps if you have some, ways that you've applied it so that you can show that. But it doesn't have to be a position. It can be really designing something or going through a project or researching something that you're interested in, learning what the current trends are, writing a lit review, that kind of thing. I think it just kind of shows your broad abilities if you can do something like that.
Oh, absolutely. And to end, are there any lasting words or of wisdom that you can provide students, or perhaps your younger self that you wish you knew?
Sure. Yeah. I think that I was fortunate to be able to really take the MI program at my own pace and really delve into different things. I took a very varied coursework, even though I was on the LIS track, so the Library and Information Science track. And I was more interested in the organizing information side, more the technical background side. I took community engagement. I took just obviously all these internships, etc. And the British Archives, which was just a great trip in general. And I recommend that to every MI student that can pull that off, because it was wonderful. Just to see, a different part of the world and how libraries work in another country, and just the similarities and differences. But I think having a broad base, if you go in and you know exactly what you want to do, there's so much to choose from. I wish I had taken more classes on the data science side. I sort of just ran out of time. But I think the variety is really helpful. I would absolutely recommend that to any current or future MI students. And I'm glad that I was able to do that. I also would recommend to my younger self that not to be afraid of some of the coursework, because it can you read those descriptions and they can kind of sound sort of scary, but I feel like the professors are really, really helpful. And if you can make the time to work with them, I think you can manage any of those classes.
Right, and having that open communication and open dialogue, but also building a support system, by connecting, networking with both professors and students. That way it doesn't feel very siloed or lonely in your grad program. And that's the thing that you mentioned, self-paced, part-time, really getting to absorb the information and really enjoying yourself during that time. And you've done a lot of great work, in terms of internships, past roles, figuring out, what you like and you don't like, to sort of prepare you for this big academic role that you're in now.
Yeah. And I definitely was involved a lot in the student organizations at Rutgers. I definitely recommend to people to get involved, even if it's just to meet other students. I still have connections. In fact, I was talking to one of my former classmates this morning, because she's starting a program at a library that's similar to one I did at another library. And so, we still keep in touch, and just kind of giving her tips based on my experience. And so, that was built out of being involved in some of the student organizations.
And that's the key, right? Keeping in touch, for a big world, when we tend to, go into career industry roles, it does sort of feel like a small world, whether it's students or professors we've met, through our academic careers, and, just getting to see, where everyone lands, and, being able to help one another and, build that community, right? Because networking is, community and relationship building, and, getting to, figure out what we don't like and what we do like, and getting to conversate with one another, to finding that, perfect job role that we want.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you have to remember that you're always going to be learning and always want to network. I'm only 4 years out of the program. I think that's right. Could be 5, but however many it is. I'm still working as I'm a mentee through, a mentorship program. I'm a mentor at Rutgers, but I'm a mentee through the New York ACRL. Just because, I'm in a totally new role and I want to be able to connect with some people that do more what I am doing now. And I think that even when you've been in it for a while, you're still always learning, and it's really good to make new connections and use those organizations that are set up to kind of help support you as you're growing in your job.
Absolutely. Well, Lisa, I thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be able to talk and, share your career journey and also to get your perspective, on networking, relationship building, and community, throughout your career. And, it looks you are doing a great job, in terms of being able to adapt and pivot and look where you are now, at Seton Hall University. And congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thanks for taking some time to talk with me.
That again was my interview with Lisa Thornton. We look forward to connecting with Lisa very soon. Thank you all for joining us for another edition of Sky Career Talks. And be sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe. Also follow our LinkedIn group page, Sky Career Corners, to connect with our brilliant students and alumni. Until next time, I'm David James. Take care.